And welcome back to Overtime, everyone. As we mentioned, we have none other than Lucy Seaberry, former Eastside High girls basketball coach, track and field coach for over 3 decades, and she retired some number of years ago, but she still looks as if though she's the same age as when she first started. She is aged gracefully, and she is here in the Delta News studios tonight to join us on Overtime. Coach, one thing that in the last segment I wanted to ask you too about in terms of all of your accomplishments and what you've been able to do as far as basketball and track and field state championships. Anything left that you didn't accomplish when you look back on your career that you wish you would have?
From that statement, no. I think God has blessed me to look back and see some of the girls are very successful in it. Some have business on their own, and some still are coaching now, and some teaching school. No, I don't have any regrets. I thank God that I touched the lives of many young ladies, and I loved it.
And you know what? You're still doing that today, Coach, just by your presence, your smile, and just your generosity. I know, Coach, as I mentioned earlier before we took our last break, that you are a pioneer, the first African-American student at Delta State back in 1965, if I'm not mistaken. What does that mean to you, your place in history?
Well, being the first black and fit to finish at Delta State, that's an honor. It motivated, I could tell a story how it motivated me to fight for my right. And I had to go to school. I wasn't going to be, say no. The first time I had gone, they sent me back for a doctor excuse. And I couldn't get a white doctor in Cleveland to wait on me. Wow. I had to go to Clarksdale to Dr. McCassell, and he filled out my papers to go to Delta State. I was turned down in Cleveland at all the doctors that I went, they were white. And the black doctor in Clarksdale filled them in. I was accepted at Delta State.
In terms of that period as well, and I like to ask this question too, that people that came up during that period of the civil rights movement, did it make you stronger, have perhaps thicker skin?
From the experiences that I had gone through, that was a blessing. I had a story to tell. If anybody look at you, Seaberry did it, I can do it. So I looked at it being a motivator, and that it can be done. And you might not get the recognition that you deserve, but God knows your heart, and He knew why I went to Delta State. It wasn't for publicity, it was a necessity, and I wanted my degree. My mom believed in education. She finished 3rd grade, but she determined. We picked cotton, chopped cotton in the evening, but we had to go to school. And she done a marvelous job with us.
In service, that's one thing that I look at your life and your story. It sounds like it is a story of being a servant. How important is that to you in terms of being there for your fellow mankind?
Well, Mom brought us up in church. We stayed in church, and this gave me courage and hanging that I could be anything I wanted to be. And I proved, but because my mom was just couldn't believe nobody. But I was determined to get my education. And I knew we were poor. We were very, very poor. And but my mom always just pushed us. And I'm about the strongest in the family. Did nothing discourage me. Wow. You know, a lot of time I left walking and have food to eat, but I wasn't going to turn around. And I'd be grinning, laughing, but my little post stomach would be hungry. But I hung on in there. So that's what I had a gift now of sharing and giving. And I asked the Lord to direct me now, because some people use you, and I asked Him to, reveal to me. Right. I just believe because I had it rough. And anybody want to be something, I like to push them.
Wow, so well said. Well, I tell you what, Coach, we're going to take our final time out, but we'll return. We're going to talk a little about life after coaching for you. What has that been like? Like I said, you still look the same you were when I first started here some 30 years ago.
Thanks
Coach.
for the compliment, but no.
Wow. But we're going to come right back, talk about life after coaching for Coach Seaberry, who's still, I think in some ways, still a coach because she's coaching now the game of life. We'll be right back. Coach Seaberry.